Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with another video. This is going to be I guess an update of sorts on the video I did yesterday on Ethan Van Sciver, and I expressed some of my opinions about him and this apparent schism in Comicsgate. So I just wanted to give some more thoughts and hopefully final thoughts as regards to the situation with OG Comicsgate and New Comicsgate and Ethan and Nerdette's Newsstand and War Campaign and all that stuff. Because I really try not to get involved in drama, and at least when it comes to Ethan, I'm starting to think maybe that was wrong. Maybe that was wrong of me to try to sort of turn a blind eye, because I'm starting to see now with things, and I want to be clear, this isn't just what other people have said. I've looked into this for myself. I've checked Ethan's Twitter. I've checked Ethan's live streams. And I'm starting to see now that Ethan is not, at least for me, he's not somebody I would associate with in any form. And this is about things that he has said, and more importantly, things he has done. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't about me having opposing views than him, right? I don't agree with his stance, for example, that making comic reviews and critiques of SJW Comics is suddenly harassment. Several people within Comicsgate, including Comics Matter, still review mainstream comics. Ethan is of the opinion that, if you're still reviewing mainstream comics, especially if you're not paying for them, you're now harassing the creators. No, Ethan, that does not meet any legal standard of harassment. That's not harassment at all. It's called critique. You don't get to tell people how to critique. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not taking much issue with his views, more than some of the stuff he's done recently and some of the stuff that I have witnessed in his live streams. Now, I want to try to keep this somewhat brief because I don't want to go into just a devolving rant. But to be honest, I am actually quite disappointed in him and actually really freaking pissed off to the point where I have a slight headache. I probably shouldn't be wearing this, but I don't know. My hair recently won't even go into a fuzzy ponytail, so scarf it is. But anyway, here's the thing. And I'm going to be clear, Ethan's entitled to his opinions. Ethan is entitled to his grievances and beefs or anything else, which is partially the reason why I did not involve myself and didn't make videos at all about the infighting with Comicsgate, because I honestly thought it was just people in a movement that had grown, and those people were just having personal conflicts. So I figured, hey, you know what, let you and him fight, right? I did not realize it had grown and devolved into this actual schism where, at least from my perspective, Ethan Van Sciver has now amassed a fanatical group for himself that refer to him as Caesar and all this other stuff. And I know some Ethan supporters are going to say, it's just a joke. Here's the thing about jokes. What makes a joke funny is that it often contains an uncomfortable truth. But that's not the biggest thing. And the biggest thing is that for me at least, right, in a repetitive behavior live stream, which is basically a drawing stream that Ethan does, and Nerdette sent me the link. I followed the link and I checked and saw this is his channel. It's not some sort of like fake account from best I can tell. This is indeed his channel. So these are words he said and stuff he did, because I know that him and Nerdette have been having a bit of a disagreement recently. Nerdette's just addressed it in some of her videos recently, and Ethan has supposedly offered for her to come on his live stream and discuss it. I don't quite know how those negotiations are going. All I can talk about is what I personally have seen from Ethan and seen from his live streams, his Twitter, right, and what I have not seen, okay? So this is stuff that I have witnessed with my own eyes. So Ethan, I checked this link. At about the 1 hour 53 minute mark, Ethan starts talking about Nerdette. And I want to be clear, Ethan does not critique her, he doesn't criticize her, he doesn't say, look, I take issue with what she said here, here's why I disagree. He doesn't do that. He literally spends 10 minutes just trashing her. Not one critical thought, not one opposing idea, not one explanation. He spends 10 minutes trashing her. This is supposed to be a man who's a professional, who's the king of all social media, who's the king of Comicsgate and all this other stuff. Yet he's doing this to someone who was once a supporter of his solely because she said something he didn't like. He just trashes her for 10 minutes. And what drives me crazy is that during this trashing, he accuses Nerdette of intentionally hiding the names of the people that false flagged her channel because the community tab post, right, the picture that was shown, it was cropped, it was cut off at a certain point. And he accuses her in his 10-minute trash rant of intentionally cutting it off and hiding it, despite the fact that, as we've seen later, in Nerdette's recent video, she does reveal the names of according to YouTube, of the two people who flagged her channel, a Ted Zargano and a person going by the name of Stigma Centurion, both of which were both in Ethan's streams. I've seen them both, and came to Nerdette's channel. I've seen them both there too. In fact, in Ethan's most recent stream, I think it's Smack Talkin' Live, in the beginning of the stream, Sigma Centurion admits with a $2 super chat, so it's in bright blue, admits that, I'm going to assume he, I might be wrong, I don't know the gender, but that he made the privacy claims, the false flagging, on Nerdette. Keep in mind, Nerdette's videos have been public about public statements made on public forums, right? Twitter posts, things of that nature. So everything has been public. It's not information that was hidden from the public, like, say, a person's address or whatever, right? That is not generally accessible to the public. It's everything that has been out in the open, and then this Stigma person admits that yes, Ethan, yes, I did it. I have a $2 super chat. Notice me, right? And to my knowledge, at least, Ethan has not done anything about this yet. Apparently, from best I can tell, he has not addressed this. He has not denounced what Stigma did, which, in my opinion, that as the official or unofficial leader of New Comicsgate, as the king of all social media, he should denounce this. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, he can't control what his audience does, he shouldn't be held responsible. I'm not talking about holding Ethan responsible for what Stigma did. Ethan's not responsible for the action Stigma took. Ethan's responsible for responding to it, for making it clear that if you want his attention, then you should not do that. This is no different, at least to me, this is no different than when a child does something bad, right? They do something bad wanting daddy's attention. Father, right, if he's a good father, is going to pull his child aside and go, no, son, or no, daughter. You don't act out badly. You don't do bad things thinking that you're going to get positive attention from me. It doesn't work that way. If you want, positive attention, do good things. And as childish as that may seem, well, what Stigma did was childish. So if you have to treat Stigma like a child, then yeah, that's what, in my opinion, Ethan should do. I'm not holding Ethan responsible for Stigma doing that. I have no proof that he set the person to do it or anything. To my knowledge, Stigma acted alone. But in my opinion, Ethan does have a responsibility, being that he is a comic professional, to address this and to say, hey, This is not cool. You don't do this. If you're a fan of mine, please don't go harassing other people just because I no longer get along with them. Don't do what Stigma did. Stigma, I don't approve of what you did. To my knowledge, and I asked Ethan in the Smack Talking stream that he did last night if he had or if he would address what Stigma did. As of yet, I have not seen a response either way. I saw plenty of comments, I saw plenty of moderators in his stream. No one said anything about it being addressed, and what's even more frightening is that no one in the stream, best I could tell, even addressed Stigma. You know how sometimes someone says something dumb in a stream or whatever, and like everybody and their mother goes after that person and tells them, no, that's wrong, no, that's stupid, right? It's sort of like a sort of mob justice in a way. Yeah, not even that happened. No one, from best I could tell, in the stream or on Ethan's live stream, and there were several people coming on and off, seemed to take issue with the fact that a member of the audience went and made a false claim against the Nerd Newsstand channel, all because she and Ethan have a disagreement. No one on his side seems to have any issue with this. Keep in mind, this is the exact same behavior that Comicsgate sort of rose up from, right? It was this type of behavior that people took issue with, and that's what started Comicsgate. Now apparently people in Ethan's audience can engage in this, and the community, right, the rest of the audience, and from best I can tell, Ethan himself, won't address it, won't condemn it. Why? Because Ethan Van Sciver? To me, he is beholden to the same rules that I would hold any other content creator to. Especially one who, when he freaking opens a live stream, goes, "Hi, my name is Ethan Van Sciver, and I worked for DC Comics and I'm a 27-year pro in the comic industry." You know better, Ethan. You know better, and you should be doing better. Right? But back to what Ethan personally said. So, as I said, in the repetitive behavior video, that the live stream, I should say, that he did, he goes on for 10 minutes to trash Nerdette, to make claims that he can't prove. And here's the crazy thing. He says several times in the video that she's seeking attention. Keep in mind that a community post, right, it's only sent to the community. In other words, only to subscribers. So it's a matter that is fairly kept in-house. For example, I have no idea what's on Ethan's community tab. I don't get any notifications about it because I'm not subscribed to him. So I'm not going to know. The only way I would know is if I went to his channel and clicked and then went to the community tab. I don't get any updates on his videos or on his community tab because I'm not a subscriber. So community tab is fairly in-house. So let's just look at this objectively for a moment. You have Ethan Van Sciver claiming that Tristan of Nerdette's Newsstand is seeking attention, that she made these community posts just to get attention. So Ethan decides to not only show the community post, which he claims is just to get attention, on his own live stream, right, which is going to have on average 1,000 people, if not a little over, watching. He shows the community tab notice, right? So he does that. Then he takes again a community tab notice from a different creator, right? From someone he supposedly, is having a dispute with. He goes and takes her community tab notice and then plasters it in several posts on his Twitter. So she's seeking attention, but he's the one basically signal boosting her and spreading her community tab message, which is, again, fairly private, right? Far and wide, right? Exposing it for more and more to his much larger audience. So, who's looking for attention, Ethan? The female creator who was simply addressing her followers by making the notice on her community tab, who, to my knowledge, did not go on your stream or your channel or anyone else's channel talking about her disagreement with you, who didn't go to anyone else's channel talking about this, to the best of my knowledge. Or you, Ethan, who took a person's community tab and decided to plaster it on your own live stream and then on your own Twitter, right? You're giving her attention she didn't ask for, yet you're going to call her the attention seeker. You're being petty, Ethan. You're being petty AF. Grow up, all right? Grow up. More importantly, but not more importantly, these things are very important. But I was watching Ethan's live stream last night, the Smack Talking one, and he gets into a conversation with someone on the live stream called Rebel Comics. They start talking about, why you should use Indiegogo over Kickstarter. That's not the issue with me. Use whatever crowdfunding means you want to. That's not my issue. My thing is that during this conversation, Ethan, on a live stream, asked this Rebel Comics person, "Are you Comicsgate?" John Malin, in the live chat, then asked the person again, once they're off the stream and back in the live chat, "Are you Comicsgate?" Now, this may sound like you may be wondering why I take issue with this, but the reason I take issue with this is because the moment I heard this, and maybe it was just a tone of voice that maybe I'm not articulating properly, but when I heard this, and I'll link to the live stream so you yourselves can see it. But the moment I heard him ask that, I'm like, are we back in 1940s Germany? Is someone gonna walk up to this guy and go, "Papers, please"? And I want to be clear, I am all for cred checking. Okay, I'm a gamer. I survived Gamergate. I saw Anita's videos. I understand wanting to make sure that the people who are in the group are sincere and are wanting to build it up instead of tear it down. So I'm not against cred checking. Again, I have gamer cred. I take pride in gamer cred. But you check cred by testing a person's knowledge, by getting into a conversation with them and ascertaining through the conversation what they know and what they don't know. You don't check by going, "Are you Comicsgate?" This is ridiculous. This is like asking, especially in comics today, this is the equivalent of asking about someone's political affiliation. Which let people know is that if you're doing like a formal job search and interview and whatnot, political affiliation is not something you can ask about, right? So just imagine for a moment that Ethan was a business, right? A business proper, right? And this Rebel Comics person is interviewing with him. And Ethan were to ask, "Are you Comicsgate? Or are you anti-Comicsgate?" That's a question you can't ask. Because that is the comics equivalent of asking about a person's political affiliations. So when I heard this, like, my jaw dropped. I'm surprised I don't have a bump on my chin because of how hard my mouth fell open when I heard this. I want to be clear. I personally, whenever I spoke about Comicsgate, it was not this. I did not know, and I admit I turned a blind eye to it. I did not know that this little collection of fanatics had surrounded Ethan. I didn't realize that he had become such a, in my opinion, petty and honestly disgusting individual, in my personal opinion. Look, he's a good artist, he's a decent writer, but I would say, at least when it comes to his behavior online as a a comic creator, right, or as a content creator, right, and all this as like a businessman, I find him absolutely petty and absolutely disgusting. He seems to be of the opinion that Comicsgate is whatever he says it is and nothing else. Now, critique isn't allowed unless you be harassing somebody, and at least from best I can tell, he doesn't seem to care if people from his audience basically waving his flag go and false flag another person. Keep in mind, he says himself on his Twitter that Edwin Boyette false flags him and that he's had these privacy strikes against his channel before, so he knows what it's like. Yet, from best I can tell, if I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong, but from best I can tell, he's just sitting back, not giving a damn, right? Not saying a word, allowing this to happen on his watch, because believe me, he knows. He knows because I went into the comments on 2 of his videos and I let him know exactly what I think of him. And in those comments, I let him know what Stigma did. So whether it was in the live chat or in the comments, he knows now. And from best I can tell, he hasn't addressed it yet. And I don't think he will. I don't think a denouncement is coming because I don't think he is man enough to denounce what someone in his camp did, right? It's easy to, pick on the other side, right? Whenever they do something wrong. It's much harder to actually put the foot down on your own people, as it were, whenever they do something wrong. But the person who can do that, in my opinion, shows that they are mature and they are consistent. This type of behavior would not be tolerated by anybody in Comicsgate if it came from Max Visaggio, if it came from Dan Slott, Mark Wade, or anyone else, and it should not be tolerated from Ethan Van Sciver just because he's Comicsgate. He's not, at least to me, he's not Comicsgate, or at least not what Comicsgate once stood for. He's as SJW as any other person, and I know it's not going to happen, but if I could have it my way, I'd kick him out. I would kick him and his Sicko fan followers out. Because Comicsgate is supposed to be 100% SJW free. And from best I can tell, Ethan, at least very recently, I don't know how long this has been going on, because again, I turned a blind eye to it, but at least from what I've seen with Nerdette and what I've seen members of his own audience do, it's completely SJW. And it should not be tolerated just because it's from the side you agree with. Wrong is wrong, doesn't matter who's doing it. Now, I don't think any other members of Comicsgate are going to come out and speak against him about this. I would hope to see someone do it, but I'm not holding my breath. But I'm just stating my piece. Ethan, you're wrong. And if you don't address this, if you don't denounce this, then in my opinion, you're a coward. And all I can say is that for me, I refuse to have anything to do with Ethan Van Sciver in any form. Let me explain to y'all how serious this is for me. Let's say, for the sake of argument, Chris Claremont, my favorite comics writer ever, did an indie book, right? He wrote the book, Ethan did the art. Let's say the book was free. I wouldn't get it. That is how upset I am. I would not get that book. It could be the story of stories. Ethan's on it, I wouldn't get the book. Believe me. If I had known about this prior to getting Jawbreakers, I wouldn't have picked it up. If I had known about this prior to getting Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, because Ethan's credited for the art in that, if Ethan had been behaving like this, right, and I was aware of it back when I made those purchases, I wouldn't have made them. Full stop. I would not have purchased them. For me personally, I don't tolerate this type of behavior, and more importantly, I don't reward this type of behavior. I won't buy comic books I like from Marvel because I know that if I do, I will be giving Marvel money. So believe me, not buying something with Ethan's name on it is not hard for me. Living without Chris Claremont's X-Men run is much harder on me than living without Ethan. Right? So if I can do that, I can do this. And I want to be clear. I'm not trying to tell anybody else what to do. This is simply my feelings, my approach, how I've decided to deal with the situation. If you want to buy Ethan's stuff still, if you can separate the art from the artist, good on you. I can't in this case. This is just my feelings. It's just one woman's opinion given what she saw in a public space, what she heard in a public space, what people admitted to doing in a public space. And if anybody on Ethan's campus got issue with me and wants to try something with me, let me tell you something. I'm a New Yorker, I'm a smart woman, and I'm a former paralegal major who still has her law books. I would not suggest trying anything with me. Because unlike Tristan, I'm not a nice woman when I get pissed off, and I will take action against you if anybody tries something dumb. Okay? Okay. So anyway, that's my opinion. That's the video. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.